Hello Stampin' friends, it's Ayana Johnston here with another check this out video tutorial to show you. Today I want to show you how I made the Special Reasons flower card, and I did it with one of the beautiful new stamps that's in our occasions catalog. And I actually made two colors of this card, this color and I made this color, so you can kind of pick and choose what color you want as you go. And I also kind of created about 6 of these cards using just a nice little assembly line to create this nice fun look. Today I'm going to just show you how to do one, and I'll give you all the measurements, and then you can set yourself up to create 6, to create 10, or however many you want. And the nice thing, it's such a versatile card. It can be used for thank yous, for celebrations, for weddings, birthdays, whatever you name it. It's just a fun card to do. You can get the supply list for this card on my blog at www.checkthisout.stampinup.net. Okay, so let's get started making this card. Just wanted you to know, before I go over what you need to make the card, I want you to know that with this particular one that I'm not doing today, the colors I used for this one was Dapper Denim and Sweet Sugar Plum. So if you decide to go with this color, those are the colors you're going to want to use, as well as those particular stamp sets. But for today's card, we're going to be using Elegant Eggplant and Peekaboo Peach, another beautiful new color in the new catalog that came out the previous year. Okay, for stamp sets for this card, you're going to need 2. You're going to need the beautiful Special Reasons catalog, sorry for the glare, not catalog, the stamp set, and I use this big beautiful nice flower right here. And then I also went ahead, and you'll see I use the coordinating framelits to go with this, which you can buy as a bundle and get 10% off. This is called the Stylish Stems framelits, and I use this framelit as well as this larger flower. And then you're also going to see that I use this larger leaf here and this smaller leaf here too. Beautiful set put together. Then I also use the Thoughtful Banners framelits, not framelits, excuse me, stamp sets. So in the Thoughtful Banner, I went ahead and I used the thank you that's here, and then I use the celebrate here. You can mix and match, as I said, because it's such a versatile card, but this is a great stamp set to get that gives you that versatility. And then I use the coordinating punch with this as well. Works out great. For stamp sets, you'll need 3. You're going to need the Elegant Eggplant, the Peekaboo Peach, excuse me, and then you're also going to need Versamark ink for this one. For cardstock, you're going to need the following. You're going to need a sheet of the Peekaboo Peach. You're going to want to cut this Peekaboo Peach at 8.5 by 5.5 and then score it at 4 1/4. Then you're going to want a sheet of the Elegant Eggplant, and this Elegant Eggplant is cut at 2 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then you need another sheet of Elegant Eggplant, and you're going to want to cut this one at 2 3/4 by 4 inches. Then you also need a scrap piece of Elegant Eggplant, and you'll need this for the border. And then you'll want one more piece of Elegant Eggplant, and you're going to want to cut this piece at 3 1/4 inches by 3 inches. So I've already cut out one, you can see with this one, but just wanted you to know that size that you'll need to cut out the larger flower. Then you're going to need a piece of Peekaboo Peach. You're going to want to cut this at 3 inches by 3 1/4 inches. And then you're going to need a sheet of Whisper White. I got 2 of them sitting in there because I had them ready for 2 cards. But this sheet of Whisper White, you're going to cut at 2.5 by 3 3/4. And then you're going to need one more sheet of Whisper White, and you're going to want to cut this sheet of Whisper White at 2.5 by 5 inches. Then that's all the paper that you are going to need. So first I want to go ahead and I want to start showing you how to stamp this particular card. You're going to want to take your Peekaboo Peach first, and then you're going to want to have your Whisper White available. And with the Whisper White, we're going to go ahead and do some emboss resisting with this. So I'm going to get my Versamark ink, and then I'm going to get my Peekaboo Peach. The first thing with my Peekaboo Peach, I'm going to go ahead and use this beautiful flower stamp, and I'm going to stamp that. And then I'm done with that. I'll put that aside. And then what you're going to want to do is take the smaller leaf stamp. Sorry if I didn't point that out a little bit earlier. But you're going to want to take the smaller leaf stamp with the Versamark ink and stamp randomly all over here. Now you're going to want to do this with both of your pieces of Whisper White, the long piece as well. I'm going to show you the short piece for the example. I've already pre-done my long piece. Then you're going to want to take clear embossing powder. And I forgot to use my embossing buddy to get off the static, but you're going to want to make sure that you do that step as well. So I'm going to take some clear embossing powder. Get that all over my card. And then I'm going to go and heat emboss this. Okay, now that I've heat embossed this, I'm going to just shift this just a little bit there. Now that I've heat embossed this, what you're going to want to do is take your Elegant Eggplant with a Stampin' sponge and lightly come in here and sponge around your card. And it's up to you how dark you want to make it. Next, you're going to want to just take a piece of tissue and wipe off the excess ink that's on these leaves. So that way you can actually see the leaves are clear, and then you can really see the Elegant Eggplant. And then look at that beautiful sheet of paper. The nice thing I did was I went ahead to save time and I did my sheets ahead of time. So these are a little lighter. It all just depends on what type of color and how deep you want to make it. So now that I did my stamping right there and I've done the stamp, I want to go ahead and take my framelit and I want to cut out this flower with my Big Shot. Now you already cut this out to save time, but that's what you'll want to go ahead and do with that particular one. And then the next thing you're going to want to do is take that sheet of paper that you have for your flower. What we want to do is we want to cut out that flower outline. Now of course I did this ahead of time. Let me show you how I did this. So what I did was I took this beautiful flower imprint, and what it's going to do is it's going to go ahead and come out and it's going to punch out all of these beautiful leaves. Then it's going to leave this big square here. So once you go ahead and do that, let me show you how I did that when I put this through my machine, my Big Shot. So I'm going to go put that through my Big Shot. And that's what that looks like once you have it put through your Big Shot. So then after you use this particular flower, you're going to want to go and get this wonderful outlining frame. And it's very nice. I just look for the flat side of the flower and then I line that up and then I run the rest of this through my Big Shot. Once I do that, then I come up with this beautiful flower ready to go. And so then those are almost all my pieces I have to put together to go ahead and make my flower card. So I'm going to go ahead and take my sheet, my card base, and you're going to see me, what I'm going to do is fold my card base, then I'm going to adhere these sheets of paper, the Boston Resist, and then both of them, I'm going to adhere those to my purple Elegant Eggplant. Then you're going to go ahead and see me put the long strip on first, then with Stampin' Dimensionals I put on the smaller strip, then you're going to also see me glue the flower on. But one last thing you want to do before you do all of that, you want to take these cute little flowers here, this one, or leaves, in this sleeve. And then you want to go ahead and take a scrap piece of garden green. I like garden green, whatever green suits you. You're going to want to cut out, using your Big Shot, 8 of these smaller flowers, and then you're going to want to cut out 2 of these larger flowers. I've done that ahead of time, and I like to just keep cranking away, and then I put them in a cute little dish so I don't lose them on my table. My table's a mess if you can see it, so I'm sure we all have our wonderful craft space areas and how we use them. So that's what I do with my garden green. And then now I'm actually ready to go ahead and adhere all my pieces. So first I'm going to go ahead and do my elegant eggplant. Next, with my fine tip glue pen, I'm going to go ahead and adhere these cute little green leaves. Okay, once I'm done adhering my leaves, I always want to make sure I get this back on right away before it dries up. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this onto my flower, and you can do it with the glue pen, or you can, or excuse me, the glue pen is it's now been discontinued, so I'm gonna have to use the fine tip glue pen, which works just as well. And you don't need it all over, I just kind of hit some of the larger areas. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and adhere this using Stampin' Dimensionals. Now, one thing I like to do with my Stampin' Dimensionals is I've got to attach the leaf on here. So I actually put quite a few Stampin' Dimensionals so I can pick and attach my leaf onto one of the Stampin' Dimensionals, and I don't have to glue the bigger leaf down. So when I have these leaves, I'm looking at my Stampin' Dimensional, kind of figuring out where do I want to place my leaf. And then I make sure it's on the Stampin' Dimensional, and then I don't have to place any other glue on it. Once I place my Stampin' dimensionals on it, then I just place it right on my card. And I notice my flower is still coming up just a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and put just a little more fine tip glue in some areas so it stays. I think I've hit it with enough. Okay. And the nice thing is it dries so nice and clear, you won't even notice that. And then the last part is I always get this glue pen back on. You want to make sure you get that back on because once it dries, it's hard to get that back in there. So then I'm going to take my wonderful punch and I'm going to punch out a label in purple and Peekaboo Peach. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take my paper snips and I'm just going to cut this diagonal off. All I'm going to do is line my scissor up with each point and I'm just going to simply snip that piece off. Next, I'm going to adhere this and then I'm going to stamp my image. I'm going to stamp my image using Elegant Eggplant. And this one I grab the thank you. And I just center it the best I can. Again, like I said, this can be used for anything. Well wishes, with sympathy, you know, you name it, you've got it pretty much with this card. And then I use some Stampin' dimensionals to add this to the card. And Stampin' dimensionals work really well on the emboss resist because it's kind of slippery on those leaves. And there's my thank you. And for my final touch, I went ahead and I grabbed the wonderful dazzling details, or in silver, the dazzling details, and added that right in the center. And what I did was, you know, some of it still, depending on how recently you've used this, you know, I've got a little liquid coming through, so I just punched some of that out, and then I made my circle right in that flower. And once it dries, it hardens into this beautiful silver sparkle, like you see on this card. So I left the inside of this card blank, so you can do whatever you want with it. Thank you, write your sentiment or birthday, however you want to do it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. You can get the supply list for my blog, or on my blog, and you can also get more great ideas on www.checkthisout.stampinup.net. Happy stampin'!